you please turn the
Are we
fan
live?
off? Turn the fan off, please.
Is it going yet? Yes, we are on.
All right. Well, we got our little guest here with us here today, right,
Let's
Nelson?
just wait a minute for people to join. We're excited to have our kiddos with us today and telling their stories. You excited to be here, Nelson?
Yeah.
Good.
So I'm just gonna say while we're getting going here, we just had the most awesome experience, an opportunity to visit with somebody who reached out to us through doing these things with Josh and Shannon on Facebook Live and kind of talking about loss. And this month we're going to actually do a service. Elizabeth Crapo and Austin Crapo, we're going to share with on Facebook. We have a link.
Yeah,
for their
we already
video.
have the link and the video that she's done that tells her story. And then we have an Amazon list that you can pick from, and then it's sent to us.
So other than the Amazon list, or what are some other ideas?
So ideas that you can do is you can just call your police station.
You want them to write letters, anything, any
Yeah,
kind
you
of service?
can do anything. But when I called mine,
They don't want
they
baked.
don't want baked
They
goods.
don't want
They
baked
just want
goods
like
during COVID.
prepackaged stuff.
So if you're going to take treats or goodies, it
Has
needs
to
to be prepackaged.
prepackaged, already like made and stuff. And ideas were like you could make a movie basket, so it's like microwave popcorn and a gift card to Redbox or something like that. So just something they can enjoy with their families.
Is there a week this month that we're going to do this, or we're just
so
doing it through the full month? Is there a day this month that we want to focus on?
Well, her daughter's birth, the
25th is significant.
is significant, and she was going to do it on that day to honor Mara. And I think we could all try to do that, but if you can't, of course, just do it when you can, to honor any first responder, EMT, fire, policemen, nurses, doctors. Even for me, I posted on Facebook that one of my first responders was a priest, and he
was a chaplain that just got attached to the fire department.
Oh yes, that's right. And he prayed with me while I was laying on the ground in the middle of Wyoming, in the ditch, basically. And that was such a great comfort to me. And then he told me that he would go pray with Lily, because I couldn't.
And your other children.
Yeah, and my other children, because I couldn't even get to them. But so that was just such a great comfort to me, and obviously everyone who helped us on that tragic day. So this is one that's really close to my heart, and I'm just excited to be part of it, and hope that you will too. So if you, so the Live Like Lily Facebook has links that you can order Amazon.
Or learn about the service activity.
Learn about the service, but there's also an Amazon list if you just want to contribute to our community. If you want to do it in your own community, you can use that list for ideas of what to put in the baskets. So really just use your creativity, and then include, of course, the heart with who you would like to honor with the hashtag See Good, Do Good, Share Good. So
let's say Jake is a individual that was lost in your community. That's your son or whatever. You would take a basket or some type of service gift or something that to your first responders or these people that,
or even your local fire station. Like I called my fire station, he said take it to the main one downtown and they'll distribute it. So, okay. Or if you have a neighbor that is one, you could. One of my son's teachers posted that she went and took a gift card to her neighbor who's a policeman. So that's awesome.
So this month the focus is to serve in some way the first responders or the people that were immediately there with you during the time of that, the first responders.
Yeah, and I think right now, like with COVID, like they're showing up every day, and a lot of them are risking their health, but they're doing it despite that, and so they're heroes. And the if you go on YouTube, you can watch Elizabeth Crapo's story. It's called Your Community Cares. That's what this whole service is called. Last month was Blankets for Babes. This month is Your Community Cares. If you look at that up on YouTube, you can find her story. And she tells you a lot of
their story.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Well, it was. I can just tell you, it was so wonderful talking to Austin, Elizabeth, and I know that same connection can happen with many of you who participate and follow, and we certainly encourage, if you feel inclined, we would love to connect with you and love to be able to get to know you better. So today we get to have some little guests here with us. This is Nelson. He's our youngest son. We have 3 girls and 3 boys.
No, not 3 girls.
Yeah,
Lily, she's our angel.
Lily would be turning
Okay, that's
Lily
true.
would be turning 16 this year.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Isabella, and then we have Talmadge, Benson, Nelson, and then who's our youngest?
Grace.
Yeah.
Grace.
But the accident happened 3 years ago, he was the youngest, right? And you were how old? You're almost
4?
Yeah, you were 4.
You're 3 turning 4.
Yeah, 3 turning 4, basically almost 4. So
It happened on August 26th, and his birthday is on September 1st, so
Yeah.
it was right before his birthday. So Nelson, what do you remember about that day or the accident?
When I had a lot of scratches,
You had a lot of scratches.
and that, Lily died.
Yeah.
do you remember the ambulance? What did you guys do in the ambulance?
Oh, hot potato.
You played hot
Played
potato.
hot potato in the ambulance?
Who
Yeah.
started that game?
Hmm?
Who started that game?
The
who?
person that was with us.
The EMT.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that fun?
Yeah.
That's good. What happened when you got to the hospital? Was I there with you?
No,
No. Was that scary or were you okay?
I was okay.
That's good.
Who was at the hospital when you got there? Do you remember?
Ezzy and Benson and not Talmadge actually.
So you had your brother and your sister with you.
Mhm.
Who else was there?
A girl and a boy.
A girl and a boy.
2 girls and a boy.
Okay. What do you remember about Lily?
What do you love and miss about Lily the most?
That she used to play with me.
What would you guys play?
Lincoln Logs.
Lincoln Logs, huh? Any other memories? What other memories do you have of Lily that you want to share?
I don't know.
The last pictures that I remember seeing of Lily and Nelson is Lily was sitting on the plane ride to Florida. Lily and Nelson were sitting together, and they had my phone, and on my phone I have a bunch of crazy pictures
You're
with
making crazy faces.
lips and kind of funny faces together on the plane. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what have you learned since Lily's passed?
That that she's my angel.
Oh, I love
Cool.
that, buddy.
Anything else you want to share with people?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks. Love you, buddy. Okay, can you go get Benson? Okay, come on, Talmadge.
So this is Talmadge. He's our oldest boy.
How old are
11.
you, Talmadge?
11.
So we were just gonna kind of ask you the same question about what you remembered about the crash?
I remember we were watching this Star Wars or something, and then we crashed, and Mom hit like this sign. Then we rolled, and I remember it's just like a flash or something. My foot was like out the window, and then I don't remember anything till like Izzy like woke me up. She's like, Thomas. And then I rolled over, and then I remember this guy, he like helped Lilly and Nelson out, and I remember just seeing Lilly, and she had
It was kind of rough to see her. Yeah. I remember when I came to that I saw Talmadge, and he was praying for everyone. That brought me a lot of comfort. If he would do that for all of us in such a crazy time.
What else do you remember, Glenn, about that?
I remember that I was playing, and I remember when Nelson walked up to my mom after she got out of the car, and Nelson's like, I'm so sorry, Mom.
What was Nelson sorry for?
That our car was crashed, probably. And then,
Then I remember I was walking over, and I just like fell, and I couldn't get back up. And I remember Izzy's like, oh, I'll go get you a backpack or something to put your head on. And then I was just laying there, and then these people came, and then they like got like a wet towel and put it on my head. And I remember when the helicopter came, and then they got Lilly first, and then they came and got my mom, and then when they put me on the stretcher, I got like, my spine really hurt because it was like a really hard plastic. And we were going on big bumps and stuff because we were in a ditch. And I remember like them putting headphones on me and stuff. And I remember them telling me that I fell asleep for like 35 minutes of the flight. And I remember that when we first landed, I thought we landed like on a road by our house. I'm like, what are we doing here in my head? And then they took me into an ambulance, and then they took me to the hospital. And I remember all the nurses were like putting IVs on me and stuff like that. And I remember going into a room, and I got to see my mom. But we couldn't like hardly move our heads. We could kind of see each other. And then I remember that they put us on a side, and then we couldn't hold each other's hands because that was the side that both of our hands got hurt. So then we had to like move the bed things around, and then we could.
So they moved the bed so that you guys could hold
Yeah.
hands. Your right arm, Stacy and Talmadge's left arm were hurt.
Yeah.
And then I remember like they like needed to do something really fast, so like they brought me into CAT scan, and they're like, when we put you in, it's gonna feel like you peed your pants, and then it actually does feel like it, and they're like, you need to hold your breath, but when it beeps the green light, then you can breathe again.
How were the nurses? spoil you?
Yes.
Yes.
When I showed up to the hospital, Talmadge, I don't think he really wanted to leave the hospital. He had his personal assistants that could bring him, that just pushed a button, and they brought in
Anything
treats.
he wanted.
They brought in, turned on movies for him, brought in.
Oh, he had his own remote.
Oh, you
that
had
was
your
the
own.
awesome part.
Anyway, I just remember that Talmadge was not that excited to have to leave. He was
He
in
had
a
it
pretty good setup.
there.
They treated you really good, didn't they, bud?
Yeah.
What do you remember about Lily?
I remember her smile and her laugh were really funny. Well, not funny, but like, I love them. And I always get reminded by you two that like I'm a lot like Lily. I get mad.
When you get mad.
He is a little feisty. And he does the same kind of Lily sometimes. He'll be like,
So what have you learned, like what's your biggest lesson that you've learned from this experience?
That we'll be able to see her again. And I know that families can be together forever. You just have to choose the right.
Talmadge, if there was another 11-year-old boy somewhere out there in the world who lost a sister or a brother, what would you want them to know?
I'd want to know that serving does a lot and it helps you get through it. And doing stuff like that your sister or brother used to do, that helped me too.
And we didn't talk about this at all, but this just comes to my mind. One of the things that I know that our family has needed from the accident is, and that the children have asked me specifically for, is they've needed me around. Mm-hmm. They've needed Stacy to spend time with them. And I know that the time that I always work a lot, right, bud?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I know that the time that I am able to take and be with the kids is really meaningful to them, and I think that whether they realize it or not, they value time with us more than I think they did prior,
and I cherish it more too now.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. And we've had a lot of fun things we've done as families since then too, huh?
Yeah.
We've had some good adventures and good trips.
And we always, the things like Talmadge said, like we just went to Glacier Park and we just always, like Lily would have loved this and Lily would have loved that, and we had found this crazy cold water and Lily totally would have jumped in there. So it's fun to remember through that, huh?
Yeah.
I like those reminders too.
What else do you want to share?
Anything else?
No, not
Okay.
really.
Thank you.
Okay,
Ed.
thanks, bud. Love you. T-Man, you're gonna get Izzy. Keep Grace down there, please.
So this is Benson. He's our 9-year-old, right?
Yeah.
Second oldest boy.
He is, by all of our
yes.
children, the most faithful bracelet wearer. He's
He
only
usually
got
has 4
he's
on
only
his
got
wrist.
3 on right now, but this is one of each of the versions of the Live Like Lily bracelets that we've had, and Benson has had one on his arm at all times. I gave mine away recently, and so when I give mine away once in a while, I'll borrow one from Benson until I get home to get me a new one. So.
Good job, bud. So do you want to start out with what you remember from the crash?
Sure.
Okay.
Isabel, please
No,
don't.
we have another
Please don't make
sibling that's gonna
faces
make
at your
them
brother.
Okay.
What I remember is, so yeah, we were watching Star Wars, and then my mom, when she was driving, she hit a pole, and then I just remember us rolling and stuff flying everywhere. And then I remember I was like crawling out of the vehicle, and then I saw a receipt that had blood on it. So then I went back to the car to see if everybody was okay. And then first I saw actually Talmadge and Izzy came out with me. And then Izzy was like, "Oh, we gotta pick up all the stuff." And then we were like going like through the barbed wire and then getting everything. And then Talmadge,
Like picking up.
Stuff that
All
is
of our
belonging from
stuff.
the. Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, so you guys were collecting our belongings?
yeah. And then Talmadge, he just fell like onto like where the pile that everything was on, and then he fell asleep. And then we went, and I saw my mom, and she had this big, huge, puffy eye. And then Nelson was like, "I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Mom." And then I went around the car and I saw Lily, and Izzy was holding her on her lap, and then Lily was just laying on her lap, and me and Talmadge and Nelson were just sitting there. And then we went over to these ambulance people told us to go into these other people's car, and then it turns out they actually were in a crash too, and they were like, "Oh, we were in a crash too." And then we went with the ambulance, and then we played hot potato with an ice pack, and then Izzy was laying down on the stretcher, and me and Nelson were sitting on like those benches on the side of the car. And then he was like saying, "Oh, we're here." And then we got to the place, and then me and Nelson and Izzy we got sat down in these chairs.
It's
Keep
okay.
going.
And then
It's still videoing.
I know.
Okay.
And then at one point, they called a bishop and his wife over, and they brung like books for us. And then we went in, and then when they left, we went into this room. Me and Nelson sat in the chairs, and I think Izzy was on a bed. And then there's like all these sodas on one side and all these snacks on the other side. And we were watching this show. And then my dad got there, and then we drove to a hotel. And then when we got there, we went to sleep, and then the next day we woke up and then drove to the hospital that Lily, my mom, and Talmadge were in. And then we went into my mom's room, and then Nelson, and then Nelson went and then we went into Talmadge's room, and then we said hi to him, and then we went into my mom's room again, and then these missionaries, I think, came over to the hospital in my mom's room, and they told us that Lily had passed. And then Nelson, he saw that everybody was crying, so he just started crying. He was like,
Yeah, I remember that too. That was
Being
kind
3
of
years
cute.
old, you don't understand.
And then Talmadge came in. Actually, I think Talmadge was already in there when that happened. And he was in a wheelchair. And then my grandma and grandpa came over, and my grandma at that time, she broke her wrist.
Well, 2 wrists.
Oh, both of her wrists. And then we got a picture of my mom and her sitting by each other.
You're in rough shape. Yeah.
And then that's pretty much all.
Yeah. That's a good remembering.
Thanks for sharing that
Yeah,
with
thank
us.
you. What do you love and miss most about Lily?
I love Lily, and miss most about her is that whenever I wanted to play with her or play with someone, she would always be there to play with me.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
She was good at playing with us. You guys are really creative together.
And one of the games that we played was like cowboys and Indians.
Oh, I remember that.
Because we had this raccoon hat, and then the Indians would wear that.
I took a picture. It's like
Yeah.
one of my favorite things that I remember you guys doing together. What have you learned from Lily's passing?
That you should be kind and always remember her or him
Mm-hmm.
that died or and has passed, and that you should always do good. And if like they did something that you really liked, then you should like do it too.
What do you mean by that?
Like
What did Lily do that you?
like play with us, and like I've played with Nelson.
Mm-hmm. And
And
Grace.
You're an
College
amazing
and
brother
Grace.
to Grace. And,
That's awesome, buddy. It's really good. Anything else you want to say?
No, not really.
If there was, I'm going to
Oh,
say,
okay.
ask the same question I asked Talmadge. If there was another 9-year-old out there, boy or girl, who had lost a brother or sister, what would you want to tell them, or what would you want to share with them?
I want to share with them that they should keep being kind and always choose the right.
Okay,
Awesome.
good.
Thank you, bud.
Thanks, love you. Can you help with Grace down there for just a little bit longer? Thanks.
Okay.
Hey, this is our Izzy, and she's 14. Yeah.
Is it crazy to think that you're a year older than Lily ever got to be? And that you're bigger than her and all that?
No,
Do you think you're stronger than Lily?
no.
I think you're probably right. She was pretty strong, 13
But for
years
sure
old.
taller. Lily was
Oh,
very
yeah,
distraught
very,
that her
very,
younger sister
very
was going
much
to be
taller.
taller. So, we just wanted you to do the same thing, to share what you remember about the accident.
Like, how much?
Just share with us what
Anything.
you want to share. What do you remember
Maybe-
about the accident?
Yeah, like maybe not everything, but like just give us some things.
Well, things that, that really I thought was cool was that, like, we went into, after the crash, like me, Benson, and Nelson went into somebody else's car that had stopped just for a little bit while they were like, I don't really know. I think they were like working on like my mom and Talmadge and Lily, and it was really cool because they're like, oh yeah, our car, like tipped over too and stuff. So that was like really cool to have them be there because they went through the same things. And also, once me, Benson, and Nelson got to the hospital, we were like waiting there, and like they were just checking us to make sure everything was okay. And one of the nurses, he was like, oh, you guys are lucky today because today I brought like 3, he like had brought his computer, his phone, and like an iPad or tablet kind of thing. And so that was really cool.
Does he let you guys use them or something, or what?
Yeah, and that day he had brought 3.
And there was
Mm.
3 of you.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah. And, that's pretty much what I have.
Have there been times since the accident that you've thought about memories of the accident that have been hard for you?
Yes.
What would you feel okay sharing a little bit of that?
Sure.
Just share with us what's been hard for you.
Well, it's like after it first happened, I was like super scared and stuff. Like that night when we went to bed, because I was like, I just remember like it was like super scary, and like Lily was like all covered in like blood and stuff, and it was really scary.
That picture was in your mind.
Yeah. That's
How long did that last for?
it was pretty much only that night, and then I didn't have it again.
Because you were the one that was right there by her, right?
Yeah.
I couldn't even be beside her.
So I think Benson mentioned it. You were holding Lily after the accident for a little while.
Yeah.
Till the ambulances and stuff came.
Mhm.
One of the experiences that, and I don't remember who or what, you may be able to help us remember, but it touched me, is that somebody told us that how much Heavenly Father must have trusted you, because I wasn't there, right? Remember, couldn't be there.
And I couldn't get off the ground.
That Heavenly Father trusted Isabel, even though he knew that was going to be a traumatizing experience. How much he trusted Isabel to be able to be there and have that experience and hold her sister. Do you remember who told us that or where that came from?
No, I don't remember
that. What do you remember about Lily?
She had really strong legs.
She did.
She was a strong girl.
What do you mean by that?
Because I never tried to fight her because she would always kick me, and then I would.
She would get on her back and then be kicking like crazy, right?
Yeah.
What was your favorite thing to do with Lily?
I don't really know.
Like at night, did you have fun talking together?
Kind of.
What do you remember about Lily other than the strong legs?
She always was reading.
Mm-hmm.
I'd always, lots of the time, be like, oh, come play with me, and she'd be like, no, I'm reading.
What's been the hardest thing for you?
Not having an older sister. I don't really like being the oldest.
Too much responsibility, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What have you learned from this experience, or what are the things how has it changed you, or?
Just to be more grateful for everything that I have, and being more kind to the people around me, because I don't know, and I might not see them again.
Anything else you want to say?
No.
So I asked this of Talmadge and Benson, if there's another 14-year-old out there who lost their brother or sister, what advice or what would you want them to know?
Probably just to trust God and try to find the good in the bad.
I think you've done a really good job of that.
Isabel's been amazing. She's blossomed into the person she is today and been a great example to her brothers and even to Josh and I. She has a lot of faith.
Okay.
Thank you.
Every one of our children have really had a lot of courage to come in and do this,
Yeah.
but I think Izzy may be up there with the highest, right? You didn't really want to come and do this a lot today, did you?
No.
Yeah. So we certainly appreciate each of them and appreciate you, Izzy, for coming and being part of it. And the reason that Josh and Shannon did this with their children last week, and we're doing this week with our children, is we don't have the answers for how to go through this in every unique situation with each of our children. And Stacy and I know, have been prayerful, tried to ask Heavenly Father what each of our children may need, what we might, as parents, though we didn't do counseling or therapy, but that's one of the things, especially for Isabella, because of the things that she experienced. That's one of the things that I was very, I don't know if you know it or not, but I interviewed you many times over the last 3 years. Did you know that?
No.
It wasn't
But
official.
just checking in to try and, as a father, to see how she's doing, because if she wasn't doing well, I certainly would have, that was some of the things that I definitely was going to suggest, is that we do some type of counseling to help be in an environment to share. And Isabella's been cool because she's more of a quiet. Lily was really outgoing and really verbal with everything, right? Loud and all that. And Isabella's much more quiet, but it's been awesome to see her express and share with Stacey and I her heart, which has been allowed us to receive that confirmation that she's doing well, and receive that confirmation that she's processing
I remember
this.
At the beginning, I was like, "Hey, I've got to talk to my kids about this. They need to talk about it."
Trying to get all the details.
Because I was hurting so bad, I couldn't even imagine how Izzy was feeling about it. But she told me, she said, "Mom, I'm never going to talk about it," and that worried me. But then she would do these art things that would say scripture, prayers, and faith. She would just paint them, so that to me was that's her speaking about it. That was her way. It wasn't verbally, but it was through art and different things. And do you feel like that helped you when you did that? What made you do it?
I don't know.
You just kind of felt like it? Yeah. And that's kind of how it goes. You kind of just have, okay, I feel like doing this, and that becomes a little bit of therapy.
And we know of other families that have sought counseling, have sought other ways, or done different things as families to help cope. And we as a family, it was interesting, the year before Lily passed away, or just the summer before, just a few months before Lily passed away, we decided as a family to not participate in any extracurricular activities and just spend time as a family. And then that next year, that's what we did, and it was, I think that was
after Lily. And Lily passed away. And one of the things is, when Josh told me that, I was like, "There's no way. Lily's a dancer, and she can't just take a year off." So I was totally against it. And then one day I just had the thought, just do it, just agree to it. And so I did, and I went and talked to Lily, and it was really, really hard for her because she loved to dance. And then she passed away, and then it totally was clear. This is why, because you need to come together as a family. You can't be running around everywhere. You just need to stay close as a family this year and not be involved with all this extra stuff. And that alone was
really
such
helpful.
a big thing. Yeah.
So I only share that as, a lot of families, I think we have a tendency to extend or stretch ourselves really thin sometimes, and there's nothing wrong, and you should not be punished or ostracized or policed or anything. If you feel inclined, it's okay to have your children pulled out of those things for a period of time. It's okay to do something like that where you demonstrate to your children and your family that we need each other, and that time is really important. Some of the family vacations that we've gone on have just been, or even just it's little camping trips or whatever, just times that we spend or go and get an ice cream or whatever, have been, for me, some of the most healing.
They might be little, but they were huge, just to unite us more. So.
All right, well.
That's it. I just want to give another plug for your community care service project this month.
So they go on to any internet search, they can type in Your Community Cares, it'll pull up a video.
Go to YouTube, put Your Community Cares, and you can go and see Elizabeth Crapo tell her story, and then she'll tell you in ways in which you can do this service project. Live Like Lily, I've posted her video and also given a little, have my Amazon list there too. Shannon Levitt Nielsen has an Amazon list, so there's lots of ways.
And last month, as you've heard Shannon probably already say, it was been a huge success for Blankets for Babes, and
she said it's probably close to 200 blankets. So 200 families are going to be blessed because you guys served, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
So thank you for your love, for your service, and you don't even know how much that just a blanket will mean to them. It'll mean the world.
And I can tell you from being a bystander for Josh and Shannon,
Oh my gosh.
this was a kind of their first service thing in honor of Layla, and I could see and feel, and I know the real healing power that service project that they did for their community, but also spread that and shared that good with others. And the more that they saw that shared, that helped them heal in ways
And it helped me.
and it helped us heal in ways that just are awesome.
So thank you for helping people heal too. Love you guys.
And next week, you'll get to meet Austin and Elizabeth Crapo. They're going to be special guests on
speakers,
here,
yeah.
so they're going to do the Facebook Live. It's going to be at 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Time,
And so
same
be
time.
looking for, I'll post their flyer on Live Like Lily.
And if they want to watch it, they're going to go to her Facebook
we'll post
page,
that. That'll be
Elizabeth
there.
Crapo's Facebook page, to watch that.
But they're amazing and they're awesome, so I hope you tune in, and they're going to talk about miracles. So
Mara, their little daughter Mara, they're going to talk about her and the miracle that she has been and all the miracles associated with her.
Yeah.
So
okay.
thanks so much.
Thank
You
you.
guys have an awesome week.
Yeah.
Thanks, Izzy.